Thank you very much for this very interesting workshop. And I represent the Data Shepherd in ASINA Safe by Design project. So just a little bit words for the project before we start talking about the data. Anna Costa is the coordinator from Italy, and we have 21 different partners from 8 countries, and the project is anticipated to end in 2023. So ASINA, the project takes into account 2 existing value chain products, which is antimicrobial coatings and the nanostructured capsures in cosmetics. So we have those 2 value chains, and we have different partners in the project that manufacture those products. And we want to analyze, make hypotheses of how we can make it, how we can make the products safer from a toxicological aspect, but also from a process aspect. So we started a pilot action, ASINA, and they're measuring the entire production and life cycle phase of those 2 products, from the synthesis to the incorporation of the nanoparticles in the nano-enabled products, to the use phase till the end of life. So we're going to analyze the entire life cycle of the data, and we're going to design and also verify those safe by design criteria that we will find out during the project. And in the end, we're going to develop an online tool that applies multi-criteria decision analysis algorithms for in a nutshell. So let's go to the place that we're more interested in. It's about the amount of data that are going to be generated. We're going to have 2 different value chain, and each value chain will have its own nanoparticles, right? Different synthesis procedure, different characteristics, characterization data, and then for the nanomaterials to be incorporated into a product, we have different processes. We have deep coating, we have spray coating, 3 different spray coating in ASINA. We have emulsion techniques for the cosmetics, granulation. We have another one is a 3D printing, and we're going to have a variety of products as well. And for each value chain, for each nanoparticle, for each process, for each product, we're going to have data around the functionality, which is the antimicrobial properties or anti-aging properties of cosmetics or antioxidant properties of cosmetics. There's an entire group of functionalities that we're going to measure. We're going to have characterization data, as we saw in the previous presentation. The characterization data will start from the beginning till the end of life, the life cycle. We'll see how the PCAM changes through the life cycle. We're going to have the exposure assessment, occupational assessment in the product lines with air monitoring campaigns. We're going to see the dose in the environment. We're going to estimate the internal dose using modeling to see the human exposure. We're going to see the environmental impact through life cycle assessment. And on top of that, we're also going to have cost data through life cycle costing analysis to see how much the synthesis cost for those products, to see the impact, the carbon footprint. And of course, we're going to measure the hazard. We're going to have different in vitro, advanced in vitro modeling. We're going to have alternative in vivo for the environment. We're going to have some omics to incorporate AOPs in our methodologies. So we're talking about all the partners, a variety of 21 partners, all of them involved into generating different data for the different nanoparticles and products and processes. So the interesting part about this is to see the data as part of a specific category. We're going to have data that are going to fit the safe by design criteria from a materials perspective, but we also have the technological perspective, which is the process itself. So why we needed the TA with NanoCommons? One of the 2 deliverables that a TGO, which is Transgiro in ASINA is involved, is the data management deliverable and also the verification. So we needed NanoCommons to guide us of how we write a data management plan, right? Because it's, let's say it's a novel concept, or how we verify the nano-specific data. And NanoCommons, with their expertise, they were able to guide us in the data management and in the verification, which we will see later on in more details. Another aspect of why we needed a TI with NanoCommons is once we have all this data, we will have a bigger challenge, which is the integration of the information across all those cases, right? And also, once we have the characterization data, we believe from a machine learning perspective, the theoretical descriptors could be more informative for the nano-informatics community. So what we achieved so far, we have a successful transnational access. The two main contact points I had with NanoCommons was Tassos Papadiamandis and Isolde Lynch. We had submitted the first data management version in ASINA. We had the generic questionnaire provided to us the same way that NanoSafe had their NICS templates. So we have those templates on hand. We generated specific templates in case of ASINA, and also NanoCommons will allow us to store our data in a long term later on in their knowledge base. So the questionnaire, the ones that were presented as well in the previous. First of all, we have a form of collection. In the start of each project, we distribute those questionnaires to all the partners in order to see what data exactly are going to be generated, what type of protocols you're going to use, do you need other information from other working packages, right? Because there is a strong inner collaboration between each project. So one information is traveling among all the partners, and we need to be aware in order to integrate the information later on. So most importantly, of course, is for interoperability issues and data quality, we need information about the protocols, the guidelines, and even what type of instruments you're going to use. So once those questionnaires are provided to all the partners, right, we're going to the NICS, to the NICS spreadsheet. And with this template, we are able to gather detailed information about the methods, the protocol ID, the instruments, who are the people involved into creating those data. Is there any publication related to the data that we're going to see? The measurements is the raw, is the measurement matrix is where all the data are imported. And of course, we have the dictionary tab, which is for the ontology interoperability aspect of the data. So by using this ASINA, by using those data in help with NanoCommons, we will be able to help the entire community later on to reuse the data. So one outcome that happened from the NanoCommons workshop, there was a workshop on how to annotate the data. And this was the first time I listened about what is annotation and how to do it. So from that workshop, I created a data set that is specific for neurotoxicity of nanoparticles in vitro system. And we also annotated the data. So this was one first hands-on experience of how the data look in the literature, how scattered they are, and the quality issues appear very vividly when you do this practice by yourself. You see the completeness and how there are a lot of people who do not specify how the characterization, for example, happened. And of course, we created another article with the help of Papadiamandis, where we wanted to show how exactly do you start as a shepherd inside a project to have a tract on and how to manage the data. because we listen about data management plan, we hear about fair data, but I was unable to find a document that will tell me exactly the steps to follow in order to make the data fair into a project. So we created a roadmap where we say to the community, first you specify the cases that you're going to have in your project, you share the questionnaire, you must have an external person to guide you and help you, because it's not just the data management plan, it's also the technical aspect of it. The data descriptors, which is a very interesting part and the most challenging in the data management, and we're going to see a little bit about of this, and of course the case-specific templates. Another outcome from NanoCommons and ASINA collaboration, we created a capture template for exposure field campaign monitoring. Now, from the time that we were writing this manuscript, at the same time, Gracious released their templates. Now, in the manuscript, we describe exactly what are the similarities, but there are also key differences between the two templates, all right? What's interesting in this case is the fact that we have different partners in ASINA. One is doing the characterization of the nanoparticles. One is creating the nano-enabled product. There is a process going on, like spray coating. One is measuring the air emissions. And then we have other people who are going to take this data and they're going to do modeling, right, to estimate the emission rates, etc. So we're seeing, this is a very nice example of how different partners are involved around the same concept of data, but each one of them have different requirements. So it's a very nice experience to bring people together and discuss about data and how this can be useful and what type of information do we need, right? In ASINA case specifically. So the templates actually have to be case specific to fit the project goals. Another example that we submitted actually yesterday, we have many antimicrobial assessment, antibacterial assessment, and we did not find the template available in the literature where to import the data, so we have to create one from the scratch. Many different partners for sample characterization, different analysis here, different analysis for the sample itself, for the exposure conditions. Different partners are doing the antibacterial assessment. One is doing it for cosmetics, one other is doing it for, so we had to find a consensus among the entire, the consortium itself, or what data do we need to circulate among the partners, what data do we need to report. So if you read the papers, this will be published hopefully soon, you will see the challenges in this entire roadmap of creating a harmonized template with all the partners in order to understand what the data are and how to make it transpilable and also annotated with ontological IDs. From a SENA perspective, this is where we are at the moment. There are several data under verification at the moment. And once those data have been verified, then they will be uploaded in NanoCommons knowledge base. So to summarize, this is the work that has been achieved in in 1 year, let's say, of working together, a strong collaboration in each step of the data shepherding. And I would be more than glad to discuss and to answer any question. Thank you.